Have you ever felt a bit off? Maybe a sudden dizzy spell, or a slight tingling in your arm, and just brushed it off? Perhaps you thought, "Oh, it's just old age," or "I must have slept funny." It's so easy to dismiss those fleeting moments, isn't it? We've all been there, pushing past minor discomforts, convinced they're nothing serious. But what if those seemingly innocent little sensations were actually your body whispering a critical warning? The heartbreaking truth is that far too many wonderful seniors, just like you, unknowingly miss the very first whispers of a serious health event. This isn't about blaming anyone. It's about a painful reality that these early signs of stroke can be so subtle, so easily mistaken for something else. That precious time is often lost. That lost time can mean the difference between a full recovery and a life-altering disability. Imagine if you could recognize those whispers, not just in yourself, but in a loved one, and act instantly. That knowledge is a true secret to protecting what matters most. In this video, we're going to dive deep into 7 specific early signs of a stroke, signs that are commonly overlooked, especially by people over 60. We'll talk about what each one looks and feels like, and most importantly, what immediate action you absolutely must take. Understanding these signs is not about living in fear, but about empowering yourself with life-saving knowledge. Watch to the end for something that will truly surprise you about how crucial even the slightest symptom can be. So, let's start with the first and perhaps one of the most recognizable, yet still often misunderstood. Signs: sudden weakness or numbness, especially on one side of your body. Think about it for a moment. You're reaching for your morning cup of tea, and suddenly, your hand feels clumsy, or you can't quite grip the mug properly. Or perhaps you're walking across the room, and one leg feels strangely heavy, dragging a little, or just doesn't seem to respond as it normally would. This isn't just a general feeling of being tired or a bit stiff from sleeping. This is a distinct, noticeable weakness or numbness that comes on suddenly and affects one side of your face, arm, or leg. Imagine you're chatting with a friend, laughing at a story, and then you notice their smile seems a little crooked. One side of their mouth might droop, or they might struggle to show all their teeth when they smile. This facial drooping is a classic, but sometimes subtle indicator. It might look like they've had a minor stroke already, but it's crucial to understand it's an early sign, a warning that blood flow to the brain is being interrupted. It's not just about what you see in the mirror. Sometimes it's about what others notice in you, or what you observe in someone else. Try this simple check. Ask yourself or the person to smile broadly. If one side of the face doesn't move as well as the other, or if it sags, that's a red flag. It's a sign that the brain, which controls muscle movement, is having trouble communicating with those facial nerves. Now, let's move on to the second crucial sign, which often appears alongside or shortly after the first arm weakness. This isn't just a momentary drop from tiredness. Imagine you're sitting down, maybe watching television, and you try to lift both of your arms straight out in front of you, like you're reaching for something on a shelf. If one arm drifts downward, or simply can't be raised as high as the other, without any explanation like a pre-existing injury, that's a serious indicator. Sometimes people describe it as feeling like their arm has fallen asleep, but the sensation doesn't go away, or it's accompanied by a profound weakness. It's a sudden inability to control or lift one arm, or even one leg, that wasn't there moments before. Consider someone trying to pick up a utensil at dinner, and their hand just won't cooperate, dropping the fork repeatedly. Or they might try to get up from a chair, and one leg gives out. These aren't just minor stumbles, they're immediate, unexplained losses of strength. The key here is the suddenness and the one-sided nature of the weakness. Your brain controls different parts of your body, and when a stroke happens, it typically affects one side of the brain, leading to symptoms on the opposite side of the body. So, if the right side of the brain is affected, you'll see symptoms on the left side of your body, and vice versa. That's why this one-sided weakness or numbness is so telling. It's your brain signaling distress. When you notice these signs, whether it's the facial drooping or the arm weakness, the absolute most important thing to remember is the word fast. We're going to talk more about fast later. But for now, understand that it stands for face, arm, speech, time. If you see any of these happening, it's not a moment for hesitation. It's not a moment to wait and see if it gets better. It's a moment to act. Think of it like a fire alarm going off. You don't stand around wondering if it's a false alarm. You act quickly and get help. It's about being proactive and recognizing that these aren't just quirks of getting older. They are specific, urgent messages from your body. Many people, out of fear or simply not wanting to cause a fuss, might try to ignore these signs or go lie down hoping they'll pass. This is precisely why so many seniors miss these early warnings and lose critical time. The brain cells affected by a stroke start to die very quickly without blood flow, and every minute truly counts. Recognizing face drooping and arm weakness immediately allows for the possibility of treatments that can limit brain damage and vastly improve the outcome. Now that we've discussed how important it is to notice changes in your face and the strength in your arm, let's move on to another critical area that can also be affected by a stroke: your ability to speak and understand. Building on what we've just talked about with facial changes and arm weakness, our third key sign focuses on what comes out of our mouths, or rather, what doesn't: speech difficulty. Imagine you're trying to tell a simple story, but the words just aren't coming out right. They might be slurred, like someone who's had too much to drink, even if they haven't had a drop. Or perhaps you can't find the right words at all, or you mix them up in a way that makes no sense. This isn't just a momentary slip of the tongue or forgetting a name. This is a noticeable change in your ability to articulate words, speak clearly, or even understand what others are saying to you. Sometimes, it's not about slurring, but about confusion in speech. You might suddenly start talking in nonsensical phrases, or repeat the same word over and over without realizing it. Conversely, you might find that while people are talking to you, their words just sound like gibberish, even if they are speaking perfectly clearly. This difficulty in understanding spoken language is just as serious as the difficulty in speaking it. To test this, you can ask the person to repeat a simple sentence, something like, "The early bird catches the worm." If they struggle, slur, or can't repeat it correctly, that's a significant warning. This communication breakdown points directly to an issue in the brain's language centers. It's a very common early sign, and often one that family members or close friends are quick to notice. Even if the person experiencing it isn't fully aware, they might become frustrated because they know what they want to say, but their mouth just won't form the words, or their brain can't process what they're hearing. The fourth sign, and one that can be particularly frightening, involves sudden vision changes. Picture this: you're reading your favorite book, and suddenly, the words blur, or you can only see half the page, or you might experience double vision, where everything looks like two images instead of one. Sometimes, it can even be a complete loss of vision in one eye, as if a curtain has been pulled down. This isn't just the ordinary blurry vision that might come with needing new glasses or rubbing your eyes. This is a sudden, often dramatic, change in your ability to see clearly, usually affecting one eye but sometimes both. The brain is responsible for processing what our eyes see, so a sudden interruption of blood flow can cause immediate and profound visual disturbances. If you experience this, even if it lasts only a few moments, it's a critical sign not to ignore. Moving on to our fifth sign, and this one can be extremely intense: a sudden, severe headache. Now, we all get headaches from time to time, but this isn't your typical tension headache or the one you get after staring at a screen too long. This is often described as the worst headache of your life, a thunderclap headache that comes on out of nowhere. reaches its peak intensity almost instantly, and has no clear cause. It might be accompanied by a stiff neck, nausea, or vomiting. While not all severe headaches are strokes, this type of sudden, excruciating pain can be a sign of bleeding in the brain, a type of stroke known as a hemorrhagic stroke. If you or someone you know experiences a headache like this, especially if it's unlike any headache they've ever had before, it warrants immediate medical attention. It's the kind of pain that makes you stop whatever you're doing and instinctively know something is terribly wrong. And that brings us to our sixth important sign: sudden trouble walking, dizziness, or loss of balance and coordination. Imagine you're walking across a room you know well, perhaps your living room, and suddenly you feel incredibly dizzy, as if the room is spinning. You might stumble, struggle to keep your balance, or find that your legs simply won't cooperate, making you veer off course or even fall. This isn't just a minor slip. It's a sudden, profound inability to maintain your balance or coordinate your movements. You might feel a sudden, inexplicable weakness in your legs, or find that one side of your body isn't moving in sync with the other, making you feel clumsy or off-kilter. This loss of balance can also be accompanied by nausea or vomiting. The cerebellum, a part of your brain, is crucial for balance and coordination, and if it's affected by a stroke, these symptoms can appear rapidly. It can be particularly dangerous because it increases the risk of falls, leading to further injuries. If you suddenly feel like you can't trust your own 2 feet, or the world is tilting, don't dismiss it as just a bit of lightheadedness. It could be a critical signal from your brain. Next, we'll dive into our final sign, which can be one of the most subtle, yet equally dangerous: early warnings of a stroke. Now, for our seventh and final early sign, one that can be particularly insidious because it affects our very ability to think clearly: sudden confusion or trouble understanding. Imagine you're having a perfectly normal conversation, and then suddenly, you feel disoriented. You might not remember where you are, or you can't follow what someone is saying to you. Even if it's a simple question like, "Would you like some water?" It's a profound shift, not just a momentary lapse in memory, but a sudden inability to process information, respond appropriately, or even recognize familiar faces or surroundings. You might suddenly feel completely out of touch, unable to grasp simple concepts or follow instructions. This kind of confusion isn't like forgetting your keys. It's a sudden, dramatic change in your mental state. A person might answer questions inappropriately, or seem to be in a fog, not really understanding what's going on around them. This is often one of the most frightening signs for family members to witness, because it strikes at the core of a person's personality and cognitive function. If you notice a sudden, inexplicable change in a loved one's mental clarity, their ability to follow a conversation, or their awareness of their surroundings, it's a very serious red flag. Don't assume they are just tired or having a senior moment. This abrupt confusion can indicate that a part of the brain responsible for higher-level thinking and awareness is being deprived of oxygen. So, to quickly recap these vital signs we've explored, we talked about how a sudden change in your face, like a droop or a crooked smile, can signal trouble. We looked at how a sudden weakness or numbness, especially in one arm or leg, or an inability to raise an arm, is a clear warning. We then moved on to speech difficulties, where words might slur, or you struggle to speak clearly or understand what others are saying. We covered sudden vision changes, like blurriness, double vision, or a complete loss of sight in one eye. We also discussed that terrifying sudden, severe headache, often described as the worst you've ever experienced. And remember the sudden trouble walking, feeling dizzy, or losing your balance. And finally, this sudden confusion or difficulty understanding. Each one of these is a unique signal, but they all point to the same urgent truth: your brain needs immediate help. Remember, what truly makes these signs critical is their suddenness. They don't typically develop slowly over hours or days. They come on abruptly, often in just minutes or even seconds. If you or someone you're with experiences any of these symptoms, even if they seem to improve or go away quickly, it's absolutely crucial to call emergency services, like 911 in the United States, 999 in the UK, or your local emergency number. Immediately. Don't wait. Don't drive yourself to the hospital. Don't call your doctor first. Every single minute counts. This is where the T in FAST comes in. Time to call emergency services. And here's that surprise I promised you. Something most seniors miss even if the symptoms appear for just a few minutes and then seem to completely disappear. You still need immediate medical attention. This is incredibly important. Many people experience what's called a mini-stroke or a transient ischemic attack. It's like a warning shot. The blood flow to the brain is temporarily blocked, causing stroke-like symptoms. But then the blockage clears on its own before any permanent damage is done. The symptoms disappear, and people often feel fine afterwards, thinking it was nothing. But here's the critical part. A TIA is a massive warning sign that a full-blown, potentially devastating stroke could be just around the corner, sometimes within hours or days. Ignoring a TIA is like ignoring a smoke detector that briefly went off and then stopped. You wouldn't do that, would you? Getting immediate medical evaluation after a TIA can help identify the underlying cause and implement preventative measures, dramatically reducing your risk of a major stroke. So, if any of these symptoms appear, even if they vanish quickly, treat it as an emergency and get help right away. That immediate action could literally save your life or prevent a long-term disability. It's natural to feel a bit overwhelmed thinking about these possibilities. But remember, the goal here is not to instill fear, but to empower you. Knowledge is your greatest defense. By knowing these signs, you become a superhero for yourself and for those you love. You gain the power to act quickly, and quick action can make all the difference in a stroke situation. Small changes, like being aware and prepared, truly can lead to big differences in your health and happiness, and the health of your loved ones. I really hope this information has been helpful and has given you a clearer picture of what to look for. If you've ever experienced anything like this, or know someone who has, please share your thoughts or experiences in the comments below. Your insights could help someone else who might be going through something similar. And if you found this video valuable, please give it a thumbs up. It really helps us reach more people who need this vital information. Also, consider subscribing to our channel for more helpful content designed to help you live your best life, full of vitality and confidence. Remember, you have the power to protect your health and well-being. Live your best life at every age.